You guys ready?
Yeah.
So this morning I've been drinking this energy drink. You guys can see it. It's Ghost. Oh wait, maybe not because I have this mystery blur on. But Sour Patch Kids Blue Raspberry.
Ooh. Now, I'm a big Sour Patch Kids. I actually, I had like 2 large cases of Sour Patch Kids, containing like 20 boxes each, and I just finally polished those things off. I've been working on them for like a year, so.
Oh, a whole year. I was about to say was that like a Saturday morning? Like you're just like demolishing Sour Patch Kids.
If you do that, you just pay for it for like 5 straight days with your mouth just feeling like it has got sandpaper in it. So,
how many times in your lives have either of you eaten sour candy to the point of your tongue starting to bleed?
Probably like once a month. That's like the only candy I really like a lot is sour stuff. So
yeah,
I will go to town on. So I bought a big pack of Warheads, and then like in one night I ate the entire thing. And I'm like, that tastes metal. Yeah. So yeah, I've been there a few times. Yeah.
I think the worst for me, like Sour Patch Kids are rough, and some other sour candies are rough. But sour Skittles, if you're just going balls to the wall and just decide to start sucking on those things, I mean, it just destroys you.
Yeah. They're brutal. They're absolutely brutal. But dude, Josh, how is the bevy? Is it good?
It's not bad. It's like, okay, so it has no sugar in it. So that's like, I'm like, how? Before I even open it up, like, how's it going to taste good without all of that amazing sweet sugar? But I would say it's a good representation of what you think a Sour Patch Kid is, but it's not quite nailing the taste perfectly. So it does have a sourness, and it does kind of taste like it, but it's not like, I'm eating Sour Patch Kids right now,
All right. Well, my favorite part of the Sour Patch Kid is the first 5 seconds before it just turns into sweet candy. So that's what I'm chasing, is that feeling. Yeah,
it's pretty close to that. Every time you sip it, you get that little bit of a sour kick, so you probably enjoy it.
So speaking of energy drinks, lately I've been drinking Red Bull again, which I turned away from for a long time. But... And Red Bull in general just tastes like Red Bull. Not exactly great. It's just what you're going to get with Red Bull, right?
Yeah.
Yep. I feel like Red Bull has really figured out how to either make their sugar included or whatever you want to call it, the regular Red Bull. I always call them diesels, like full sugar, all sugar included. It tastes so similar to their sugar-free that if you're watching your sugar, I don't know why you wouldn't just go with sugar-free. So that's cool that it tastes good.
Yeah. The sugar-free Red Bull is maybe the only sugar-free beverage where I strongly prefer the sugar-free version to the regular.
Me too.
Version. It's better.
Yep.
Yeah, it's so good. I'll be like, ooh, I want a Red Bull, and my default will be a sugar-free because they're so dang tasty.
Agreed.
I'm on the same wavelength as both of you guys with that, because like I will drink anything sugar-free. I'm pretty much all sugar-free when it comes to my drinks, especially energy drinks, and I have a bad habit of them. So, but yeah, Red Bull's pretty solid. But yeah, like you said, you just pretty much know what you're going to get when you get a Red Bull. You're like, yep, that tastes like Red Bull. That's its own flavor.
Yep.
Yep. No. But anyway, welcome to IndieQuest OST, everybody.
Yeah, we're back with another OST episode. What's up?
Pretty excited about this one. It's been a while. Of course, this is Drachma's first episode. Speaking of Drachma, how are you doing, man?
Doing well. How about yourself?
I am Josh, also known as Frantic, and I'm doing pretty good. Getting my caffeine on, obviously, and just excited to listen to some tasty tunes today. And Steve, how are you doing today?
I'm good. Same. We're recording on a nice Sunday morning, so I've got my cup of coffee, and I'm just ready to relax with a little bit of tunage. I was doing a little listening ahead of time to make sure I picked the most primo songs, so I'm feeling good about my selections.
Yeah, and when we're done with this whole thing, everybody can be like, hey, you could tell us who had the best tracks, and then make it a little bit of competition. I think that'd be fun.
Yeah, the listeners will be like, oh, I really, really liked Steve up until this point, and found out that he has the worst taste in music on the planet, and I am never going to listen to this or any of his things ever again. I'm going to delete Blinkum off of my history. So
savage, man. Okay, well, that's fair. That's fair. I can't bring any Blink-182 songs in an indie podcast, so
that would be the taste. Yes,
I had to make do.
Well, until they make their indie game,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, exactly.
Mark Hoppus making an indie game of some sort. Yep.
I wouldn't put it past Tom DeLonge to make an indie game. He's all over the place. He's doing all sorts of weird stuff. He'd make
That's
some
true.
indie game about hunting down aliens or something.
yeah, for sure.
Oh, Angels and Airwaves. Oh, okay. Anyway, I don't know where I was going with that. So we decided we each picked 3 songs today. So if you guys don't know what IQ OST is, it's our IndieQuest listening party episodes where we each make selections of songs. We kick back, listen to them together, talk about why we like them, and it's just a really good time.
Yeah.
So go ahead.
A lot of times we have a theme for what we're bringing. Like in the past, we've done some spookier themed ones or some seasonal ones. Our theme this time is just good music we like, which is the vaguest theme possible to basically say we just wanted to bring songs we're really excited about that we think are good songs that other people should listen to. So you're getting kind of it's sort of an all bangers episode, all right? There's no stretching to make it fit a theme. There's no frantic bringing like ska or pop punk that only loosely fits into the episode. You're just going to get top tier tunes.
Yeah, and
A little fourth wall breaking. They left it up to me to decide what the topic would be today, and I was like a little nervous. So I'm like, I just want people to know kind of what I'm into, and I figured everybody wants everybody to know or what the other two are into as well. So
Heck yeah. I think we won't surprise, or we won't give away the surprise, but I think people that have been listening to this podcast for a long time or have talked to me would not be hard-pressed to figure out some of my picks.
yeah, and so we do have an opening song. We haven't decided what this opening song's going to be. I want to do like an opening song before we get into our picks. Anybody have any suggestions, or do you want to just leave it like a grab bag song here?
I guess I'm trying to think about what do I know that we all love. But it seems like
Hollow Knight? No, Josh, you
yeah,
haven't played
exactly.
Hollow Knight,
For most of the games that I think that we've talked about, it's always like, oh, 2 of us love this game, the other one hasn't played it.
Yeah.
Or 2 of us love this game, the other one doesn't necessarily, right? So it's like I'm trying to think of one game that we all are super into. Like I would have said Minecraft, but you're not into it, Steve.
Yeah.
So
You haven't played Super Meat Boy, have you, Druckmann?
no.
No.
I
So it's like a...
We really are twos only. That's wild.
We're gonna have to change that soon. I mean, I know in the future we're planning on doing some episodes together, but I can't. I'm trying to think of a.
How about Journey? Do you like Journey, Dracula?
I've never played Journey.
Wow.
See, that's that walking sim type game that I'm just now finally getting into a little bit.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah, that's fine.
Damn, that's hard. There's not anything, I don't think. Like,
Oh,
I'm trying to think of stuff that Druckmann has played.
Shovel Knight. We've all played Shovel Knight.
Okay. Yeah. You can't go wrong with
No.
Shovel Knight. All right. That's a good equalizer.
I will find the most suiting of Shovel Knight songs that you guys can listen to right now. So you can't go wrong with Strike the Earth. That's the one we kind of decided on. It was my alarm tone for years, so every time I hear the dun 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 at the beginning, I think about waking up and going to my grocery store job that I had for many years. So yeah, but yeah, it's a solid banger there. Any thoughts on that? I guess Shovel Knight you don't really need to talk about. Like, I don't think we've brought that as a pick, but you know it's eventually going to be a pick down the line. Like, yeah,
Shovel Knight feels like it just kind of. It lives in the water of the conversation, right? Like it's just always sort of looming in the shadows. I'd be hard-pressed to find anyone who's into indie stuff, or even not indie stuff, that hasn't played Shovel Knight. It is pretty ubiquitous, if only evidenced by the fact that the three of us have actually all played it.
I think that Shovel Knight is probably was a lot of people's gateway into indie at all. Right? Like, oh, this is like an old-looking game. I've never played this game before. Yep. And then you jump in and like, oh, it was made in, 2014 or something like that? So it's crazy.
Yeah, and it's cool because Yacht Club's finally making something not Shovel Knight related. They I guess it's a little bit of news. They announced their new game. Do you remember? What's the name of that game?
It's Mira. Is it like Mira the Tormented or something?
Oh, yeah, I think I have heard that.
Yeah.
I forget. Yeah, I don't think that's the exact name, but it looks good. It looks like it reminds me a lot of a Game Boy Color Zelda game, like an Oracle Ages or Oracle Seasons kind of vibe. Very much my shtick. I'm here for it.
Yeah,
that would be sweet.
It's a Mina the Hollower. That's the name of it. I had to look it up. I was like, I want to get that right. But yeah.
So close, Steve.
They're going
so close.
I know.
It's definitely like Castlevania vibes, Game Boy Advance vibes. It looks really good. So, yep.
Cool.
Yeah. Heck yeah.
Pretty excited.
And I mean, we could have picked anything from the soundtrack, but I mean, what better song to pick than the first hook, the first melody you hear when you start playing that game? It grabs you immediately.
Yeah, they definitely had great song selection. I mean, I think that there's a famous developer that said something about if you can't hook your audience in the first half an hour to an hour, then you didn't make a very good game or something along those lines. Like you have to get them into it. Like if it really starts getting good or worth playing 4 hours in, then is that really a good game, right? Or a game that like people are going to turn away from it. So just opening up a game like that with a banger like that is such a
It's the Final Fantasy 13 syndrome, right?
Yeah.
Like it gets good 200 hours in.
Exactly.
Or
I'll save my passionate defense of Final Fantasy 13 for a non-indie podcast.
I threw that out there just to see what you'd say. Anyway, Drachma, we're going to have you go first today. What song did you bring for us to kick off this IQ OST?
So I brought Slinger's Song from Bastion as my first song. I think that in terms of like a definition of the type of person I am, it's just A1, like that's me. Like it's a very westerny. I mean, our buddy Trav always makes fun of me for wearing boots all the time. I mean, I grew up on a farm and stuff, so I watched a lot of Western movies. Honestly, it really reminds me of basically probably top 3 favorite anime. Trigun really reminds me of Trigun. So it's just that almost like steampunk Western type, and it's just, it's so good. I love it.
Heck yeah.
All right, let's sit down and kick our feet up and listen to Slinger's Song from the Bastion soundtrack.
was Slinger's song. It's just very relaxing tune, but it's something about songs that just have the strings or horns or whatever, and then come in hard with those drums, man. Oh, they just get me. So
Yeah, it's good. It's the type of song that I'm just like, it's kind of slowly nodding my head to the whole time. I feel like if you were a professional wrestler, that would be the right song to bring you into the mat.
And it's funny because I wrestled for a long time in my life, right?
Oh,
From the time I was like 7 until I was a wrestling coach for a long time. I basically been wrestling for 20 years of my life, right? So I guess maybe that does appeal to me. It's a very the dual pistols in Bastion are a weapon, right? So that is the song for those. It's very one-on-one, gunfighty type song, Old West. So that would make sense, like, because wrestling is obviously one-on-one for the most part. So,
heck yeah, good stuff.
I just, every time I hear a slide guitar in Western music or just anything, I can just see somebody just chilling, like some dude in like a cowboy hat, just just playing that shit. It's such a unique sound, and I love it too. I'm not the biggest like country music fan, but like I can't help but just like get super into that, like that chugging feel that the song brought to the table here.
Yep.
Yeah, good pick.
Thank you.
Liked it. So I guess I'll jump into my pick here. My first pick is gonna be the day song for Terraria. And Terraria is one of those games that people will be like, oh, it's a Minecraft like, but it's actually completely different from Minecraft. The only main thing that I would say is similar is that it has a crafting mechanic and there is like a hell dimension type thing. Besides that, it's a completely different game. It's all more focused on combat and boss battles more than it is, trying to build the biggest infrastructure or build like mechanical things like in Minecraft. So when you get into the world, the first song you hear is just, to me, bright, cheery, and it's just a bop, and it really just puts me in a good mood. So let's go ahead and sit back, listen to this song from Terraria.
Awesome.
Yeah, let's do it.
So, what do you guys think about my Terraria pick here? I know it's like it's kind of almost a mood setter, and that's a loop song, so obviously it kind of fades out there and then it just loops again. But I think it just kind of sets the tone for the game. What do you guys think?
Agreed. Yeah, it's nice and light and upbeat. It feels like a good song to be listening to in the morning, and it's very timely for me because here in Minnesota we're like finally cresting into that. All the snow is melting and the days are warm enough where you can pretty reasonably wear shorts and like walk around. Pretty soon the grass will be dry enough to walk on, so it's like not only is it a good early morning song for me, but it's also like a heck yeah, man, spring is coming. Let's do this thing.
Yeah, I love it. I think it has a perfect mixture of old and new, which I think is what Terraria is really going for. Like, Terraria is a game that could not have been ran on older systems. Obviously, there's just way too much complexity, but it looks like that style, and it mixes an older chiptune type style of soundtrack with the new modern version that couldn't have been on those old systems. So it's sweet. It's like a little partnering in there, and it was all in one song. It's awesome.
Yeah. And they were smart to use that like chiptune melody over the top pretty sparingly. So
Yeah.
you're like most of the time you just kind of like just kind of low vibing to it, and then every now and again it picks it up and you're tapping your toe for a sec.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I do actually think this is I'm not sure about Steve, but I know that Drachma would love this game because it's kind of one of those you could like it's deceptive because you get in, you think, oh, this is just I'm gonna be building stuff, but then you're like, oh, there's like 40 boss battles in this game. Like it's like kind of Souls like and like hard. It's very hard too. So I mean, I know that like makes your mind go, yes, okay, I'm excited already. But yeah, basically you level up your dude and you can get like wings and like double jump, and you basically can fly around the map shooting like electric bolts of arrows at giant Cthulhu monsters. So by the end of the game,
it's all random, right? It's like Minecraft in that way where everybody's world is different, but the bosses are
the world the worlds are different, but there are like secret like ways to summon different bosses, and then you can like find different bosses in different areas of the world as well, and it's kind of randomly generated in that way. But yeah, it's definitely one of those like if you can get really kitted out and kind of feel like a badass killing giant monsters, which I'm sure that scratches an itch for sure.
Oh yeah, definitely. I'll have to check it out for sure. I have it on PS3. I'll check it out.
Yeah, I mean, I can. And this is not the Terraria podcast, obviously, but I would suggest trying it on PC if you can, because the controls are better on PC with the keyboard and mouse. Cool. But yeah,
awesome.
Steve, you brought a song. Well, what do you got for us today?
I did. Now, it would not be an episode about songs I like or games I like without me bringing something from the Outer Wilds soundtrack. I am once again here to shill this game to everyone. But I'm bringing something from the DLC this time. So this is kind of the main theme from the Echoes of the Eye DLC, which came out last year. And I like this because if you're very familiar with the Outer Wilds soundtrack proper, this has a different vibe that matches kind of the tone of the DLC, but also still very much feels like an Outer Wilds track. So I think it'll make more sense when we listen to it. So why don't we just get into it right now? Here is Echoes of the Eye from the Outer Wilds DLC soundtrack.
Let's do it.
So there you go. What I love about that song is that it, towards the end, they like bring in a version of the main Outer Wilds theme there to close it off, so you get the contrast between the Echoes of the Eye theme and the original theme, and like the difference in tone and the difference in like texture that those songs and ultimately that those games have. Just so good.
Yeah, that honestly, I really need to play that game. That is my jam, and I can hear the banjo. Not that I'm like, let's go watch some bluegrass or anything, but that is, I love somebody who could just slap a banjo. Man, it's just so good. It's just such an interesting instrument that I feel like is underutilized today, versus how it was years ago. So I love that.
Yeah, it's one of those games that it's like hard to. It's easy to recommend because it's such like a good game. Like it's one of the best games ever, probably. But then it's like I know plenty of people that jump in and just beat their head against it, and they're like, "What do I do now?" But yeah, I think that just giving it a shot sometime, I think it's worth your time.
Yeah, I definitely will. That'd be sweet.
Yeah. And I love that. It was amazing. I didn't expect to hear the main theme in there again, which is always nice where they kind of call back. They have that central theme throughout the entire game, and it means a lot if you've played the game, just that main central theme. Hearing it with like kind of like a spicy little synth feel in the background there, and yeah, just put me in the good feels, put me in that Outer Wild feels, which is a very unique feeling. So makes me want to play that DLC. I still haven't myself.
I'm telling you, that intertwining a main theme back into a song, and like whether it be late game or something like that, it's one of my favorite things. I think that obviously that's why they do it, right? And we're talking about music right now, but like when you're fighting the final boss and you get to phase 2 or something, all of a sudden something very familiar starts coming into your ear holes, and it's like, I'm there. Like I hear this all the it's so good.
Yeah, it's always very hype. And Andrew Prelo, who's the composer for Outer Wilds, he's very good, especially in the DLC, I feel like, both incorporating songs from the main game and also like motifs and like mixing different like chord progressions and stuff from songs in the DLC that then reappear later in the DLC. And like it's not always super obvious. Sometimes you'll be listening to a song and you won't even realize like, oh yeah, this is like the same melody, or this has pieces of the same melody as that song that had a totally different feel that I was listening to 8 hours ago. Yeah. And here it is, towards the climax, kind of wrapping everything back up. It's very good composing.
Yes.
Way to be, Andrew.
Yeah, and it's like a musical. If you watch the musical theater, that's how it is every single time.
Get those leitmotifs, baby.
Yep. All right.
What'd you bring for us, Drac? Come on.
I guess.
Give it to us. I'm excited now.
This is song two for me. So the way that this kind of defines my taste is a little bit, obviously, definitely different from my previous one, Slinger's Song, but this is from a soundtrack or a song from one of my favorite soundtracks, which is Hollow Knight, one of my favorite games of all time. And I played this game for a good couple hours, definitely enjoyed it, but the second I heard this song specifically and walked into this area, I was like, oh my, I remember telling my wife, this might be one of my favorite games ever. Like, it's just the second you walk in, I know Steve, once we start listening, Steve will know, but Josh, when you get around to it, like, it's just, so the song is Green Path. And you start walking through this just lush green area, and all prior to this, everything is just dark and kind of dreary and gray. But the second you walk in here, you're just like, this is, oh my God, so beautiful. So I'm excited to listen.
Heck yeah.
Let's check it out.
So Christopher Larkin is a god. That dude just knows how to put some music together and make it sound good, even to people who don't know very much about music, such as myself. But we kind of were talking about it a little bit in the interim there. But the way it starts out smooth and somber, and it's, you know, that foresty level, and just, you know, very, you know, surrounded by nature, but then picks up and just smacks you across the head. And there's a specific part in the game where that starts to happen. Like Hollow Knight does that very well with their music. With Christopher Larkin did it well, where it starts to pick up when a big event happens, right? Not to spoil it, because we haven't even talked about it on here yet, but obviously something occurs when that music picks up in the game, and it is so good. Does it so well.
Yeah, it incorporates really well into the song too. Very, just like you kind of almost get lulled into it, and it's probably intentional. Like you just kind of like start like kind of laying back and vibing with the song a little bit, and then suddenly it just wham hits you with this big burst of energy, this big burst of excitement.
Right in the
it's
face.
so good.
So good.
And I love that song. I can't remember. I think in a previous episode I might have brought Dirt's Mouth, or
Yeah, you did.
I think I did. But it's that song feels like it came from the same soundtrack, like same instrumentation in some ways, but very, very different vibe. I think it goes to show that Hollow Knight, while it is a very dreary and bleak games in a lot of ways, it is not entirely that. It also has some good variety, and it's doing a lot of different things.
It's funny you mention that, actually, because I remember listening to that IQ OST. I was mowing the lawn and had my headphones in, and I was listening while you guys were talking about them. And I remember Steve saying, I got one from Hollow Knight, and I'm like, if this isn't Green Path. So I bullied my way onto the show just so I could bring Green Path to the IQ OST.
There you go.
It worked. Yeah, for someone who hasn't played much of the game, like maybe like just pop my head into it like on Game Pass or something, if you just played this and I didn't know it was a Hollow Knight song, I wouldn't even know that. Like it seems so like different than what I expect Hollow Knight to be. So bright and cheerful, and just it's very well composed. Like there's so much going on in the track, and there's like a lot of layering going on with different percussion instruments, like little cymbals and stuff. It put me in a good mood.
Absolutely. Yeah, I feel like at the beginning of it, you feel like you could just see a fairy, like a mythical fairy float by. Like it just puts you right in that world. So
yeah, I think anyone could, with no context, you'd present this to them, like, you know, what kind of image does this conjure up? It does bring up like nature, forest, mossy trees, that type of thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
All right, Josh, I think you're up, right?
Yes, I am. I brought some more chiptune feels. I didn't do that on purpose, but I am a big fan of Spelunky. I'm not sure if you have played Spelunky. I've literally have never beat this game, but it's a very nostalgic. I actually played the original Spelunky. Like he made a like original version of Spelunky before he released it on Xbox Live Arcade, so I played that version a lot. And then when it got released like officially on consoles, I played this version, and it has this song in it, and it's kind of like the opening area song, opening track, and it's just like, I don't know what it is about opening tracks today, but I was just like feeling it. I was like, man, I'm just thinking about Spelunky today, and this song is just such a good chiptune banger. So let's go ahead and sit down and listen to The Adventure Begins from the Spelunky OST.
Awesome.
That just gets me in the platforming mood. I don't know about you guys.
No, absolutely.
Yeah. Very, very catchy, and I love the underlying. It's got a bass line that reminds me of like a Sega Genesis or maybe Super Nintendo bass, that like boom, boom. That's like almost kind of, it's like almost kind of shaking a little bit because that sound hardware could barely hit those low tones. It feels like they're trying to recreate that a little bit, which I appreciate.
So this song just immediately, like I've stated in the past, I'm not musically inclined, I guess, but I do watch a YouTube channel called 8-Bit Music Theory. And once upon a time, he said that it's very interesting to him when a song doesn't do the thing you think it's going to do. And that's what that song does. Like every couple seconds, you think it's going to go one direction and just flips it on its head, which is it's just super interesting.
Yeah, and the first time you hear that, you're like, "Oh, what's that?"
Yeah,
I kind of liked it. And then by the end, you're like, "Come on, yeah, give me that don't."
Tease me some more.
Yeah, it's like a weird like just like key signature change in the middle of the song for like one frame of music, and that's it. I love that type of thing. I like prog rock and stuff, so like that really sings to me. It's like a part of my soul to hear something like that in a song. So yeah, it's just a banger, and I might just fire up some Spelunky today just listening to it, so that's always a good thing.
Absolutely.
Heck yeah, good stuff. All right, so I guess I can give you my second song now. We're going modern with this one. All right, so when the theme was good music that kind of defines your taste, this one I'm picking for a couple reasons. One is it sort of defines my larger musical taste, like outside of game music. I do end up listening to a lot of like ambient electronic artists like Tycho or Blue Sky Black Death, if anybody's listened to either of those. And two, in terms of indie and video game music, this is the type of song that I know I will continue to listen to for a long time. So this is from a very modern game. It's from Tunic, and the artist on it is Lifeformed, which most might know from the Dust Force soundtrack. And it's a very synthy kind of ambient electronic song. This is the one that plays during kind of like the main overworld explorations. So anyone that's played the game will probably be familiar with it. And I think it's a good representation of some of the like catchier, more hooky parts of this soundtrack. So why don't we go ahead and give this one a listen. This is Memories of Memories from the Tunic soundtrack. All right, so that was Memories and Memories from Tunic. I mean, that song, it goes particularly well if you've got like a nice sound system, get some heavy bass, maybe a nice sound bar or something. It really sells the like feel of exploring that world. And for anyone that's never seen the game before, the visual style is it's isometric. It's almost like a diorama. So it has this sort of like very smooth kind of dreamy quality to the visuals too that matches the song very well. But what did you guys think? I know, Josh, you have a little bit of experience with the game, but in general, you guys haven't played nearly as much as I have. How'd you feel?
Mm-hmm. I think that it really does suit the tone of the game, at least starting off. It's a beautiful game. It's kind of cutesy. It kind of gives me that like almost like a Zelda game feel. I mean, that's kind of what they're going for anyway. Like when you get into the game, this song just adds to the ambience, and it does give me like that urge to explore. So I think that's what they're trying to, like, the tone they're kind of trying to go for with this track. So I think they nail it when it comes to that.
Yeah, I feel like that track just makes me want to kick my feet up and be a fox and go hack some stuff up, dodge roll around, man. That's just, yeah. It just watching the videos I've seen of it, that song just goes perfectly with that game. So it's got to be sweet.
Yeah, the whole soundtrack is cozy like that. Like obviously there's like some more tense or stressful songs during like boss fights and stuff, but by and large, if you just want to like have some real good lo-fi hip hop indie tunes to study to or relax to, that's a good soundtrack to go to.
Awesome.
So I think that moves us on to my final pick, if I'm thinking right here. So my final pick, I've actually discussed this on the second IQ I was on. It is a track from Into the Breach. I suggested everyone go listen to it, and now I'm making you. So that's pretty much how that's going. So.
There you go.
Respect.
But yeah, this is Old War Machines from Into the Breach. It basically is the first song that you're going to listen to a lot because it's the first island song. And honestly, it does go well with the game, but sometimes some of the music that Ben Prunty made for it is just like, it reminds me of our buddy Trav talking about the Pictionary soundtrack, you know, how that it's just like so good compared to the game it's on. And Into the Breach is a really good game too, but it's, you know, it's a tactics game where, you know, smooth, just dum-de-dum music would work just fine, but man, some of these songs just rock, and this one's super good. It's definitely smooth to start and ramps up, and yeah, I love it. So yeah, that is definitely my favorite song from that specific soundtrack. And like I said before, it it doesn't necessarily play as well with the gameplay as maybe like Green Path does, because you're just kind of, sometimes you'll get through that entire loop without actually moving anything and into the breach because you're just sitting there staring at the screen. But it is such a good song. Like I don't care if I sit there for 30 minutes staring and trying to figure out what I'm going to do, because it is just so good. I could just sit there and listen to that music the entire time. So, and as we've kind of alluded to in the past couple, I love a song that really picks up and just smacks you across the face. And halfway through that song, it definitely does. So what'd you guys think?
Yeah, really good. Like you're saying, it's a drachma pick when 2/3 of the way through the song it gets twice as hard. But what I was interesting about that song for me is that I kept jumping around, like listening to the different elements of it. I'd be like, "Ooh, look at this percussion! It's kind of popping here." And then all of a sudden you're focusing on the strings, and then you're focusing on that guitar underneath going just like dum 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 dum. So yeah, good. A lot of layers and very very catchy. And of course, who doesn't love a good build up?
That's so good.
Yeah, I appreciate. This is a very well composed track, and obviously it seems like the soundtrack is as well. You can hear like the just like sneaky sounding bass just the entire time, just doom 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 in the background, and then you hear the other strings. There's like 4 layers of strings, and then you got like the orchestra, like synth orchestra going, and I just think, like you said, it smacks you across the face. I was getting a little bit of a Metal Gear Solid vibe, but that's probably just my gaming background. But it like gives me that sneaking like help military mission as well. So I think that's kind of what they're going for anyway, because it's like a mech game. So
I
awesome.
After my 3, like as I've kind of listened to them over the past couple of weeks, just go through them and just kind of like get my thoughts in my head and ready to talk about them. I hate picking a favorite of my children, but this one's probably, I always enjoyed getting to this one at the end, right? Because it was always my last one. It's like, it was just, so love it.
Yeah. One of my favorite parts about doing the OST episodes is just being exposed to songs that I haven't heard, and it's like, this one is gonna just immediately go right onto my running YouTube playlist of video game music or catchy music. So good pick.
Thank you. All right, Josh, I'm excited. Let's do your last one here.
Cool. I went a little different direction with this one. I'm really into lo-fi hip hop. And I like listening to it as like a background, like a palate cleanser for music, and just like it's lo-fi beats to chill to. I'll like turn that on. I literally do when I'm doing stuff around the house. So a soundtrack that really has a lot of that in it is the Hotline Miami soundtrack, which is like an indie darling we don't really talk about too often here, but it's a classic, solid soundtrack, amazing game. One of those quick death, like gotta like get into it type of games, but this song is played in your apartment, and it's like nice and chill. It's like before the action. So let's go ahead and kick back and listen to Daisuke from the Hotline Miami soundtrack. So yeah, it's another one of those songs. You think of Hotline Miami, you think guts and blood and quick action, and then you hear this like chill song. It's kind of like in between / before the action happens. Gives you that just like chill, oh yeah, this is nice vibe before you go in and kill a bunch of dudes. And also we were talking during the song a little bit, is like, I think it's pronounced Daisuke, because we were talking like Japanese pronunciation, and I'm just terrible with that type of thing. So, but yeah, anyway, what'd you guys think about the track?
Good. It does its job really well, because as we were listening to it, we were talking amongst ourselves, and basically like it started to just sort of slip into the backdrop as we were chatting. I was like almost for a second there forgetting that we were listening to the track, because it was just so like chill and cozy as a backdrop for what we were chit-chatting about.
Yeah, I agree. That's like definitely, I feel like, I know that maybe is not what's happening in the gameplay, but menu songs and things like that, they get overlooked a lot, but they serve their purpose that way, because it's just you're sifting through different words, you're trying to figure out what you're going to do next, and it's just like it's putting you in that mood to just relax. Like the game is paused right now, right? You don't have to worry, there's nothing going on. And honestly, those types of songs are some of the most relaxing songs in video games, and I love that one.
Yeah, it's just kind of like, this is a lot of times when there's like a little story beat before you go. So you're talking with dialogue boxes, imagine, popping up on the screen and reading the story. That's what's playing in the background.
Cool. Yeah, it's great.
Great pick, man.
Thank you. Well, you got one more pick for us. What'd you bring to close out the show here?
Yeah, we're going with a little bit of a catchier and a little bit of a poppier vibe. So, on the theme of things that are to our taste, I could not resist bringing a Sayonara Wild Hearts song. And I brought mine. So the Sayonara Wild Hearts soundtrack is split into like, it's not like actively split, but you can definitely tell the difference between sort of the main boss level songs, which are just full on pop songs, and then the intermission type songs, which are usually shorter and they're more ambient or just electronic or like riffing on one idea. But this is one of the bigger, catchier, like tentpole songs, one of the 5 like major quote unquote boss fights in the game, and it's just super catchy, super upbeat. It both aligns to my game taste, and again, kind of like the Tunic song, aligns to my personal musical taste. Like it reminds me a lot of like Purity Ring, which is an artist that I quite enjoy. So I think you all will quite enjoy. Here is Mine by Daniel Olson from the Sayonara Wild Hearts soundtrack.
It feels so
What'd you think, guys? A banger? Confirmed banger?
Confirmed.
Oh yeah.
I feel like I wanted to get up. I'm tied. I'm kind of hooked in. I got a wire to my computer, but I wanted to get up and dance a little bit and look awful because I'm not a good dancer. But that is the type of song that you just want to get up and tap your toes to.
Yep.
Yeah, I can just see the graphics from the game with all the neon colors, and it's just, I mean, it's an amazing game. I've played it multiple times. I love it. The soundtrack's amazing, and it's not surprising that Steve's bringing Sayonara Wild Hearts tracks, but you can't be surprised because it's an amazing soundtrack. So yeah.
Hey, if you're gonna make the theme of the episode things that define our tastes, you're gonna hear Sayonara Wild Hearts music. That's
Absolutely.
just how it works out.
Mm-hmm.
It has to work, yeah. Well, I mean, what is there to say but go listen to that soundtrack? It's freaking incredible, right?
Yeah, and if you want to play a 45-minute music video that matches it, you should play the video game Sayonara Wild Hearts, because that's all that is.
Awesome. I love it.
So, I mean, this is a music episode. We're not going to sit here and drone on about plugs or anything to wrap up the show. But I would say we have a bunch of awesome podcasts to check out on the Polymedia Network. So go check that out at polymedianetwork.com. And you guys go ahead and throw out your plugs real quick. Steve, where can people find you?
Yeah, you can find me on Twitter and on Twitch as Blinkoom. It's Blink OOM, like mana.
And I am on Twitter at Captain Drachma. And of course, as I plug every time, I'm also in the Polykill Discord. So come hang out in there if you guys get a chance. It's a great time. Best place on the internet.
And I'm at Frantic Society on Twitter. You can find all the weird things I do there, including the show. I want to ask Drachma, what do you think about doing your first IQ OST? How'd you feel?
I loved it. Like, I think that coming into one of these episodes, so I've now been on one and, of course, been a listener of them. And you never leave an IQ OST without a smile on your face. It is one of those episodes that, I mean, we're not bringing, honestly, most indie games have pretty good music, right? But we're not bringing bad songs to this. And, of course, this one defines each of our tastes. But no matter what, like out of these 9 songs or 10 songs or 11 songs, I guess technically, somebody's going to love one of these songs and just be smiling. So,
yeah, I love how the variety it brings. So having an extra voice on these is really nice, in my opinion. And I thought you brought some awesome songs, too.
thank you. Yeah.
True. Great picks.
And so there is a song I always play. Like when I'm editing a podcast, I'm like, this is a really solid background song for the plugs. And if you guys have been listening to IndieQuest for a while, you've heard this song a lot in the background for plugs because I have like a loops version I put in the background for the plugs. And it's from the Minecraft soundtrack. And I figured, why not just close out the show with that today? It's Droopy Likes Your Face, and that's the name of the song, from the Minecraft Volume Alpha soundtrack. This actually didn't make it into the final game, but it's on the soundtrack regardless because it was in development. He made the C418, the guy who composed Minecraft, made this song, and I just think it's like really like different than anything else that Minecraft has. So I always play this in the background, so I figured let's close out the show with this little bop. I appreciate you guys stopping by, listening to the IQ OST, and we'll see you on the next episode.
See you, everybody.
Peace.